What is going on, everybody? BobbyFi with my man Eric Sheets-Haber. We are going to be switching gears. We haven't talked football in a couple weeks. I'm excited for the Super Bowl. I have some pretty strong takes, and I'm going to be playing some pretty heavy DFS sheets.
Really? All right.
I think so. My theory about showdowns too is there are certain teams that I really love to play in showdowns because Byron Pringle is not going to be owned, but very well may catch 2 touchdowns if they double both Kelsey and Hill, or something like that. That you can't play all of Demarcus Robinson, McCole Hardman now with Watkins back, and Watkins alone. These guys can't all be owned that much. So you can take sort of certain stances on some guys, and one of them for me is Pringle, just to give it away, and do some things like that. So
let's have some fun first of all, because that's what everybody wants to know. Like, who do you like in the game?
So I'm really struggling with this because I think that it's ridiculous, the spread.
Too low or too high? I don't even know what you mean.
I feel like it should be. I feel like the Chiefs should be like -6, maybe -7. And I feel like if it was a regular season game, that's pretty much what we would have seen during the season. In fact, I think that we did see that. In fact, it might have been higher than that. And personally, I'm worried though, because the Chiefs' offensive line, I think Mahomes is so amazing, but that offensive line has some trouble, and they've got some injuries, and they're just weak. And that's the one thing this defensive line can sort of feast on. Andy Reid with a week off is a genius. Pat Mahomes is the greatest, is playing better than anybody's ever played at the position, in my opinion. They have a million weapons. I think their defense, that worries me a little bit, but I think that overall, I just can't bet against Mahomes. How about you?
So the first thing I want to
opposite thing.
No. The first thing I want to notice is this. This is what I love. So with Super Bowl, everybody's got an opinion, right? Like everybody. And I love, I go through all my Twitter feeds, whatever. This is what everybody is saying. Literally everybody that I follow Twitter. Their opinion is either, boy, I know Tampa seems like the sharp side, but I like Kansas City. That's what 50% of the people are saying. And the other 50% are saying, boy, I know Kansas City feels like the sharp side, but I'm taking Tampa. Right. Everybody thinks they're being contrarian by right at the same time.
Which, by the way, is why the spread is still at 3, which people would have. Because there was a lot of people in the week that were, or early when it was released, that were like, even Noah, our friend Noah, he wrote me right away. He goes, "Can this line be right? Is this something I have to cash in on right before it goes up to 7?" And
I used to. I mean, back when I was like really into sports, I used to have a big streak of winning Super Bowls, right? And against the spread, and that streak usually, as most things in life, just comes to an end when you get married. You know what I mean? And just stop following it, honestly. And I have always been pretty good at picking the spreads. So this week, when the games were winding down, and you could obviously have told beforehand if you went to the sites of what if this, but I wasn't following it. So when it was Kansas City, Tampa, I felt the exact same thing as you. I said, okay. And I was lecturing my son, Matt, because Matt looks up to me. I'm the smartest person in the world in his eyes, right? So for a little while, at least. So I said, so here's how you're going to, so here's like a great lesson in the public, right? Kansas City should probably be a 6-point favorite. Okay. Or maybe a 5-point favorite, but because the public wants to bet Kansas City, it's going to open at 8. All right, that's what I told him. And Tampa will be probably a good bet because it really should only be like 5.5, but it's going to be 8. Okay, and it opened at 3. So I'm like, I guess the world has passed me by because I honestly could not imagine a human being in the public taking Tampa. I couldn't imagine. And so, knowing me by now, you'd be like, boy, it's only 3.5. What do you do? Well, normally Sheets would say, well, obviously then Tampa's a lock, right? If I think that it should be 7 and it's only 3.5, there's got to be a reason to take a Tampa. But because in the name of the Super Bowl and just being, just playing the obvious, whatever it is, I am going to say that Kansas City wins by 4 touchdowns in a ridiculously one-sided game where the combination of the better quarterback, the better offense, and in my opinion, the light years better coaching staff just rolls them. That's going to be my opinion. And then people go back to once again saying how Brady's done, even though he isn't, right? But that'll be the narrative at the end of the Super Bowl. And I think the Kansas City waxes it. That is going to be my official take.
I think it's interesting. there's a this game has a lot of things historically on the line, obviously, and I just want to bring it up real quick because people are like, oh, well, Mahomes still has his whole career. He could still catch. I'm like, well, first of all, you're separating yourself by one more from that guy who you're going to supposedly try and catch, right? Because that's sort of the thinking that Mahomes is the greatest that's ever.
Nobody's going to win more Super Bowls. Nobody's going to play more Super Bowls than Brady.
But here's the funny part. But if you lose this one, the one thing you've got going for you too is you haven't lost a Super Bowl yet. That's the only thing. No,
neither is Trent Dilfer.
No. I understand. I'm not saying that that's the thing. I'm just saying like when people bring up LeBron and use different sport, LeBron and Jordan, the one thing you can say about Jordan is once he won, he never lost.
Yes. I guess.
Nobody ever got the best of him in that sense. Brady is not. That's not the case. What if Mahomes goes to 6 Super Bowls and wins all 6? It's possible. I'm not saying it's likely, but I think he's going to have plenty of opportunities. There's no reason everything health-wise being okay, why he shouldn't be playing in at least 5 Super Bowls in the next 12 years. I really don't believe. I think he's that much better than everybody else. Anyway, let's get into the DFS part of it. Why don't you bring your screen up and we can talk?
Yeah. So here's the thing. Now again, it's a showdown slate. And the quick answer is no. I'm not going to be doing any of the coin flip bets or the national anthem bets. And if you're interested in that, Bob, maybe you want to put your own video out on that. I literally don't have any. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, I literally don't have a shred of interest in that. But from a DFS perspective, remember what we use this everything as an instruction. So remember, it's a showdown slate, which means that there's going to be a zillion people entering. And as much as there's normally a zillion people entering, there'll be a zillion more entering. So what you'd like to do is find some way to get a playable lineup that can win by itself, or not to win by itself, a playable lineup that can be by itself, right? If it wins, it wins, right? But so something's got a shot that has a chance to be unique. Okay, so there are the ways to do that. Is the easiest way, not the easiest way, but the easiest to do way is to set limits on how much salary you use, right? If you fill out your salary, there's going to be every combination taken. I mean, there just will be. So I think you have to leave money on the table, and that's the easy way to do it. And then the other way that you could be different is to construct things a little differently, and that's hard. Okay, it's hard, but that's what makes it fun. So I guess with that said, we could talk about the game, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
The pricing is tight, man. I mean, I'll give you an example. Like on most showdown slates, like if you wanted to say like put Mahomes in the captain and then like there's best receiver, you can like make a lineup work sort of. Here it's like really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why some of these guys like down here are going to be really popular. I think these like Demarcus Robinsons. Who's the other guy? I think your Pringle's going to get owned too.
I don't think so. I don't think Demarcus Robinson either.
You don't think?
No, I thought you got Ronald Jones also at 2,200.
Okay.
So it just seems like people would do that if they're going to do the down thing.
Okay.
In fact, so like, looking at it, obviously Mahomes. So the best way I can look at stuff like this, and I agree with everything you're saying about the money on the table and all that. The only thing I'd say is that like on not everybody's, there's some single entry tournaments, there's some high buy-in stuff.
That's true.
So in that situation, I don't think it's the worst thing to do. But one other way you could do it is by captaining one of these weirdos. I don't mean that to be insulting.
No, I know.
There's no reason why Ronald Jones couldn't run and catch a touchdown in this game. Now he'll have some ownership. So but again, he's not going to have that much ownership in the captain spot. You're talking about basically eliminating the whole field by doing something like that. And the same with Robinson or Pringle. But I think that Ronald Jones might be the higher upside play, obviously, but he's also going to be more popular. The other ones you can look at are the, Darrell Williams in the captain spot. I don't think is going to be a common thing. He'll be popular in general, but not in the captain spot, or have ownership in general, I should say. But yeah, so what I'm trying to do is try and figure out who I want to be overweight on, who I want to be underweight on for the mass entry stuff, and then I'm going to build my other lineups, trying to use the game flow that I think makes the most sense with what I'm going to do.
So we can have some fun and talk football. So these teams have had 2 weeks to prepare, right?
Yep.
So if you're Bruce Arians and you're Tampa, right? What are you going to do?
What do you mean?
I mean, what would your game plan be? I mean,
try to stop Antonio Brown from catching 250 yards in the first quarter against me this time.
Who?
Antonio Brown. I'm sorry, not Antonio Brown. Tyreek Hill.
Okay. So let's delete Tyreek Hill from the lineup then.
I like Tyreek Hill too. I'm not saying they're going to be able to successfully do it. I'm just saying that's what they're going to.
No, okay. Okay. So if they try to take Tyreek Hill out, then I presume Kelsey's going to be like open every play. I mean, I would presume. So
well, I think that I mean that would be the goal, is to stop both these guys. They tried to stop Kelsey the first time around. Yeah, it didn't. They went. Antonio. I mean, Tyreek Hill would have had the greatest game ever receiving if they kept throwing the ball. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't want to play Kelsey as much as I want to play Hill.
Okay, so if you play Hill, I mean, you thinking of playing him and maybe in the captain?
Potentially. I'm going to have some of that for sure, but I think that it's going to be, I don't think that'll be uncommon, especially after what he did to them last time. I don't think Mahomes will be uncommon, but I don't mind either of those guys as logical captains.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to make an obvious lineup, and then we'll see if we can pivot, right. So let's put up at this. How about we put Kelsey in the captain?
Okay.
Because he's a good player. Let's put Mahomes in the lineup because I heard he's pretty good. And let's put who do you like as wide receiver? Your best wide receiver from Tampa? You like Godwin the best or Evan?
I like Godwin. So I have a strong take on that. I like the receivers that can possibly go out there and catch a slate breaking play, I shouldn't say slate breaking, a game breaking kind of play.
So who's Scotty Miller?
KC. I think that it goes to Antonio Brown and Godwin as the number 1 and 2. And then I think that Scotty Miller would be the long shot guy.
Okay, so let's say you play Mahomes, you put Kelsey in the captain, and then you play Antonio Brown and Godwin. You don't pair Brady with them, right? You just have Godwin and Brown just catch a bunch of passes, right? Whatever. Who are some cheapies? I mean, so who are your favorites of those 2Ks, those 3K guys that we talked about before? You like Ronald Jones the best?
No, I actually think my favorite is Rob Gronkowski.
You like Gronk? Okay. What's his price?
3K.
Okay.
He's not going to have ownership either. I think this is the spot where you could see Brady relying on somebody he needs to rely on, especially if the game script plays out somewhat even like what you're talking about, where they're up by a bunch. He's going to go to reliable targets. My guess is that, I mean, look, you can beat them downfield, but I still think Gronkowski at this price and this spot is something I want to take a shot on.
So I'm just giving you an example, right? So you get a lineup like this, right? And this lineup puts Kelsey in the captain, and I don't think very many people would argue that Kelsey is probably one of the top 5 with respect to just raw fantasy points. Who's going to get the most, right? Mahomes, Hill, somebody from Tampa, right? And Kelsey, right?
Yeah.
So put Kelsey, we'll pair him with Mahomes. We got to do something different. So let's not play Hill. How about your boy? We'll play Byron Pringle, right? So we'll play Mahomes with Kelsey and Pringle, and then we'll play 3 receivers from Tampa. We'd be fading Evans. We don't play Brady. And this one, for example, leaves 1,700 on the table. I think this lineup, again, one of a million lineups you could play. I think this one makes some sense.
I agree completely. 100% agree with that. Actually, I like that quite a bit. And the one thing that you got upside with that's a little different, and what I suggest that some people do is to play the secondary receivers for KC and the captain. We've seen 100-yard, 2-touchdown games out of every one of these guys before, basically. Less so Pringle, but still. And Watkins being in the captain spot is another way to go different, I feel like. The point is that they could be, all of these guys could get 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. And McCole Hardman, I know there's a lot of guys to choose from, and it's hard to pick which one. But if you sort of are making a general thing to do, the Chiefs receivers not named Kelsey or Hill in the captain is going to be a little
But
bit.
what about Demarcus Robinson?
Him too. Excuse me.
So the way I look at putting the cheapies in the captain is there's 2 reasons to do that. Okay. If you get them both, great. But you can either do that if you literally believe that they're a good play, that, you get lucky, can actually just do something and break the slate by themselves, or for what it does in the rest of the lineup, right? Like there's some variations where you spend 800 on somebody in the captain, you get 6 fantasy points, and yet still it's good enough because of all the other guys you can just kind of cram in. So like if you don't want to, so this kind of like flies in the face of that of what you want to do about playing the secondary receiver, sort of. But like, let's say you wanted to play like the top guys. Let's say you want to play Tyreek Hill, Mahomes, and then let's say on the Tampa side you wanted to play Brady and Godwin. Like, for example, like playing somebody cheap, and I just put Robinson as an example, right? It allows you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But then you gotta, that would be nice to figure out which guy you do want to put in the captain, right? See, like this, for example, like this has Brady, Godwin, and Brown. It's got Mahomes and Hill, right? And all that's fine. And then if you get anything out of Demarcus Robinson, that's great. But maybe your idea is better. Instead of Demarcus Robinson, just pick your favorite guy.
I'm not committed 100% that Pringle's a better play, but I do like both of them. And I will be using both in different captain lineups. I promise that.
Okay. But like the point is, and this is, this is going to be more of a showdown general theory discussion than anything else. But like that's one of the things that you can do when you have these cheapies is, one is to fill out your lineups with them, right, in the flex, where you could put, expensive, safer guys in the captain, or put these guys in the captain with the dual expectation of either them doing something really good themselves or just opening up all the salary for everybody else. And, I think that if, like, for example, let's say Mahomes has like a good game, but not like a great game. In other words, like he throws literally one touchdown pass to Hill and one touchdown pass to, say, Kelsey or something like that, then you probably want them in the flex and not the captain anyway.
Right. But even if Mahomes throws 4 touchdowns and 2 are to Tyreek Hill and 1's to Robinson.
Well, this wins. I mean, like that probably wins.
You're in a great spot.
Yeah.
And you could even mix it up and leave extra on the table if you want to do something weird and play Gronk instead of Brown or something. I mean, if you just get really weird with it, if for some reason we start to think late, these guys are going to be popular in the captain, but I just don't think they are going to. I just don't think that's how people do it.
What do you think of what's the total in the game?
It's actually, you know what? I don't have that in front of me right now. Let me grab it.
I would say, I'm just guessing, was it 48 maybe?
It's no. It's 57.
57. What do I know?
56.
Okay.
So one thing I would consider doing is Xing out kickers, but I wouldn't X out the defenses, especially not. Well, I wouldn't X out either defense. I actually think there's some interest in both.
I think KC defense is probably an elite play.
Yeah, I think there's a chance. Especially if, again, the game script, you're going to have more Brady throwing the ball. He threw the last 3 times he got the ball, he threw picks. Well,
let's talk about some other guys. We literally have given up on the entire running game for both of these teams. So let's talk about the running backs. So who's playing for Kansas City? So Edwards-Helaire is, I presume, finally healthy.
Yeah, it's going to be Edwards-Helaire and then with Williams backing him up.
And Le'Veon's out.
Le'Veon may play. We don't know yet.
Le'Veon, I'm just saying Le'Veon Bell is 1,200.
Yeah, he's 800. He's 1,200.
He's 800.
Yeah, it's a matter of what can he do versus the other guys.
Darrell Williams. Yeah. And what about Tampa? You think Fournette will be the main guy?
I could see it going the other way. I like Jones.
I mean, look at the difference in these prices.
Yeah, that's what it makes.
They've got it priced that Fournette's the main guy for sure.
I like the way honestly, Fournette's been there, like the reason they got here in a lot of ways. So maybe they do start it off with Fournette, but I could just see it. I could see it switching. They're both these guys have been good, and I think they'll do well. But I don't think that I want to be necessarily well above the field on Fournette at medium high ownership, probably with the fieldish, and then I'll probably be a little ahead of the field, even though he's fair.
All right, you know what? What you told me, I just, again, in keeping with my just playing the obvious, whatever. There's no way I'm not going to give an opinion on this total. That total is way freaking high. I don't want to hear it. There's no way that goes over 57. Not in a million years.
I don't know.
That's my opinion.
All right. Well, you know what? You're usually nail these things, so you can lock in the under there, guys. It's
You know
fun.
what? And then you
Real
know
fun
what?
to watch the Super Bowl and root for the under.
Yeah, I'll play. Maybe that's the idea. You play freaking Kansas City defense with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 31-10, game over.
Or you play their defense in McCole Hardman because he's going to run one back.
Oh, and there you have it, huh?
Kickoff or something. That's
there you have it.
There's nothing more fun in a showdown when you have I had that happen once when I won a showdown thing a while ago.
I don't think I've ever had a guy return one for a touchdown.
I had a Darren Sproles Eagles defense, and Darren Sproles not only ran one back, I had him as my captain, and it was a high buy-in one too. But he ran one back, and I got to get the defense points also. And then my only other lineup, I had the defense in the captain spot, and then Sproles also ran for another touchdown and caught like 10 passes. So it was like awesome, and nobody played him for some reason. Anyway. Yeah, I think so. Like overall ownership wise, guys, we should be above and below on, and I want to get to that. So I'm Xing out the kickers. I understand that the kickers are going to put up points more than these other guys will sometimes. These are the shots, though. These are the kind of games where you don't need that kind of stuff. You don't need the 10 to 20. You're looking to, if you're going to make that home run play, you've got other guys who are like Gronk, for example. I'd rather play Gronk than I would the kickers, and he's cheaper. I'd rather play all these other guys than the kickers just because a couple plays, like it's not, we talk about it as if Marcus Robinson just catches one pass per second. It's possible he doesn't catch any passes. He also possibly catches 4 for 112 in a touchdown. You know what I mean? Mahomes spreads the ball out. Like we saw the same thing with Rodgers. If guys get open, you'll find him spread it out. Or even Brady on the other side. Look at Scotty Miller. All of these receivers are in play. They're all going to get snaps as of right now, unless we hear anybody. If we hear anybody's out, then I would just like almost exclusively play the KC wide receivers in my captain spot. Anyway, that's where I'm at. And the guy I'm going to be well below the field on is Mike Evans. Probably the highest owned guy I'll be just almost completely off of.
The guy I know. I've talked myself into it. I will have 0 Tom Brady. By
the way, if Cameron Brate or Antonio Brown are out, I will. You're gonna have 0 Tom Brady out.
That's what I'll have. No, I'm playing total of 20 lineups.
Okay.
I'm really not playing.
No, I just but if we lose Antonio Brown or Cameron Brate, then I will play some Mike Evans. I'm not crossing him out, but I have him at like 5%. Because I want to play everybody else. I want to play a lot of these other guys above the field. I'm not going to play much Clyde Edwards-Helaire either. I will play a little bit, but I'll definitely be below the field on him. I'll be above the field on probably both defenses, especially the Chiefs. And I will be above the field on Antonio Brown if he plays. I'll be above the field on I'll be below the field on Brady, even though I'm not going to X him out either. I'll be above the field on Godwin, above the field on Hill, but not much, and above the field on Mahomes as the obvious ones. And then I'm going to be mixing in these weirdo plays.
All right, I'm sucked in. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do we'll do the Super Bowl MVP prop. How about that?
Okay.
I'm pulling this up. This is from my bookie. I'm just going to eye this really quickly because one just stood out. The guy that I would pick is probably not on the board. Yeah, he is actually. All right, so here's who I would pick. I'll give you, boy, oh boy, some of these aren't bad.
No.
Kelsey 10-1.
To me,
that's not bad.
It's so hard to win the MVP as a receiver and with Mahomes on your team.
Yeah, I know. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. No. Yeah, these are hard.
I think your best bet, and this sounds crazy,
is Gronk.
No, this should be worse odds than it is Devin White.
Who?
He's the linebacker for Bucks.
No, I'll tell you who I was going to say. My pick was going to be Daniel Sorensen.
Oh, interesting.
He's only 100-1.
This seems
that's ridiculous.
Take Pringle.
This is where the dead money is in all these guys. I mean, these guys win much less than 1 out of 100.
All the other guys are dead money. It's
It's
the battle of
it's Brady and Mahomes, right?
it's the battle of Brady, Mahomes, and then there's the chance of the defensive players making a big enough play twice. Tyrann Mathieu, but these odds are not good. Like these odds suck.
No, well, they're all bad.
I mean, for Tyrann Mathieu to be the same odds as Mike Evans or Chris Godwin is kind of
Fournette 20-1.
Wouldn't it be funny? What would it take for if Antonio Brown has 3 touchdowns and like 250 yards? Well, I still don't think they'll give it to him.
No way.
No, the NFL won't give it to him.
No way, absolutely not.
They should, but they wouldn't.
They definitely won't. They will give if Brady's. That's right. Brady gets injured in the first half. They'll still give it to him probably.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So unfortunately, I have nothing here. I thought I would, but I have nothing.
I know this is not an easy Super Bowl to try and fade the chalk.
Has Gronk ever won the MVP?
I could see Gronk. I love that Gronk. Gronk to me, that I could see that one. But look, the odds aren't 50-1. He should be like 150-1.
He's 50-1. If he scores 2 touchdowns and they win, he wins it.
First of all, 2 touchdowns might be only 2 of like the 6 that they score, or 5, and that might be 2 or 3 less than Kansas City has.
No, I'm saying if Gronk scores 2 touchdowns and they win, and it's like 24-17.
Brady for 303 touchdowns. I guess Brady could only throw 2 touchdowns.
Brady's won a zillion MVPs. I'm telling you, if Gronk's never won one, they will give it to him.
I don't know that Gronk hasn't won one. I have to look that up.
I don't know either.
All
right, that'll be my 50-1. That should be 500-1, but that's what I'm moving.
All right, I'll take the most logical of the other ones that I think. I mean, first
Kelsey.
of all, both of the receivers on Tampa Bay make some sense.
Yeah,
I think McCole Hardman.
Godwin 35-1.
Hardman catches one, runs one back, and then also has like a couple other nice returns or something.
You know what? I'm going to go with my original. How about this? Since I'm not actually betting it, I can say whatever I want. Yeah. I'll go with Daniel Sorensen. How about
that? Sorensen, there you go.
There it is.
I mean, Sheets, if you got to put like $10 on Daniel Sorensen now, like just to say you made the bet.
No, not at only 150-1.
How about like $1? Like I'll put it up for you. I just don't want to sign up for the account. All right, guys. Hopefully this was helpful. I think that if you have any direct questions, throw them into the Discord about the game. It should be a fun one. I hope everybody enjoys it. Sheets, anything else for the people before we leave?
Nah, sounds good. Listen, if you go to a freaking Super Bowl party, don't get freaking COVID, please.
Yeah, when people say enjoy safely this time, it doesn't mean just don't drink and drive. Well, don't do that too, but like also don't go get COVID. So, all right, guys.
If you have to, go drink and drive.
No, Sheets, get out of here. All right, good luck to everyone out there. We'll see you at the top of the leaderboards.